Hello and welcome to this tour of OpenSUSE. OpenSUSE is a very well-known distribution of Linux. You go to their site and you download the ISO. Today we are going to be reviewing Tumbleweed, which is their rolling release. That means constantly updated. It also comes in a leap form where you get updates every 6 months or so. But it is a very secure, very stable release of Linux. You're going to go to the page and you're going to download the one most likely for Intel or AMD desktops. At the top here, you'll get the ISO and burn it to a flash drive and boot off of that. I'm going to demonstrate the installation process and give a tour of the version of Linux today. And I'm going to be doing this into a VirtualBox virtual machine. So here we've booted into the ISO, and this is what you're going to see. Now try to remember this is a virtual machine. And as it goes in, it's going to start detecting your hardware automatically. And this is a very nice installation system. It detects everything that is present. And is going to go forward from there. Now I am going to speed up this installation a little bit on my machine. This took about 15 minutes. It's going to add all the repositories that you need for your particular machine and continue on. Now it does give you a choice of KDE or Gnome or XFCE. You can pick your GUI interface that you like from a single ISO, which is a really nice thing. You create a username and a password, and off the installation goes. Now this is creating a brand new hard drive within a virtual machine. If you're installing this next to Windows, it is not how you would do this. You would have to create a dual boot situation. That is not the case in this particular example that I am giving. So it's going to go through and it's going to save all of your settings that it requires, and it's also going to start installing software such as Office suites and some games and various other things that it requires. So we'll wait for this to go. I do have this running at about 400 the normal speed. On first boot, this is what you're going to see. This is a welcome screen that gets you through the README, the documentation, and the basic wallpaper that you're going to see is this kind of architectural series. By pressing the Windows key, you get the dock that comes up for Gnome. This is a standard Gnome installation. From that window, you can type things. We're going to take a look at NeoFetch. We brought up the terminal by typing terminal, and you can see that this is running kernel 6.8.8, which is very recent. It's Gnome 46, which is the current release of Gnome at the time of this recording. And you're going to see that it is running on my VMware or VirtualBox in this case hardware. So we get a basic idea of what kind of hardware we're running, and I only dedicated 4 gigabytes of RAM. By pressing the Windows key again, and then the collection of 9 dots on the dock, we can bring up all the applications that are installed, and you can see, for example, with the Utilities menu, it is nested. You can create these nested menus within Gnome. It automatically installs GIMP and the full LibreOffice suite, including Libre Base, which not all distributions do. A couple games, Mahjong, Mines, and there's plenty of other stuff that is present. If you go to the software store, which on Linux is usually open source software, almost all Linux software is free, and you can scroll through the various ones. This is also where you update your system, and you can see that this had a series of updates that were required. What I am going to do in this example is I did log off here and installed all those updates. When you go to search on a particular program, we're using Brave Browser as an example, you will see that this is through FlatHub. The FlatHub is what the GNOME store uses by default, and it is a very good source of software. It's not like Ubuntu that has sold itself to Snap. I find the FlatHub software to be much more reliable. We're going to look at different drivers that may be present. The one thing that I don't like about SUSE is that it doesn't automatically give you any tools to install NVIDIA drivers if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. You have to use this particular application, and it looks for a CD-ROM or where you may have these drivers located. So if we go to Firefox here and we see what's involved, we're going to type in install NVIDIA drivers on OpenSUSE. and that is the correct way of saying that, by the way. You'll see that it is a series of terminal commands. It is not overly complex, but it's not nearly as easy as what you have in Manjaro, Ubuntu, or Linux Mint. They all provide very easy ways to install these NVIDIA drivers with separate applications. With OpenSUSE, you have to go in and you have to look at your system, and the graphic version of Yast does not play well with this. You actually have to do it all from the terminal. You have to add the NVIDIA repository manually, and you have to go in and get the drivers and install them manually. And you'll see that it's a little bit different for Leap and Tumbleweed. You have to make sure that you know which version of OpenSUSE you have and how you're going to install these drivers. This is one reason that I may not recommend OpenSUSE for a first-time Linux user. It's incredibly stable and a sleek, very sleek operating system, but for the first-time Linux user, installing your drivers manually like that may be a little bit of a challenge, particularly if something goes amiss. Again, we're going to take a look at the various things that are under the settings menu here. We're going to take a look at our system, which will give us a picture very similar to the NeoFetch. But what you can see here is that I've created a 32 gigabyte hard drive. You're going to take a look at it's using Wayland as its windowing system rather than X11. It has a very current version of Linux kernel present, and it has Gnome 46 listed again. But the big thing here, Wayland is the coming thing in Linux. It's the way that the windows are displayed. The other thing, with Gnome, you can list all of your online accounts, and if you have, for example, a Gmail account and you put that information in, it'll put all your contacts and calendar over into the Gnome apps for that. It will not create an email account in Thunderbird. Now, interestingly, OpenSUSE does not ship with Thunderbird. It ships with Evolution. I did not open that to see if it does, in fact, import your Gmail to Evolution. And it's quite simple to go through all the settings here, set up printers, set up your security. It'll also show you how your network is connected. This is a standard, pure vanilla Gnome interface. You can tell that it's the plain vanilla because there is no dock on the opening screen. It is only when you press the Windows key or the tab located in the upper left-hand corner of your desktop screen. And here I'm trying to show the extensions that are available, and it comes with a series of default extensions installed. One of them is the Applications menu. This is something that used to be present in Gnome, but they've done away with it, but you can turn it on. You can also turn on things like your Places indicator, and if you have that, this gives you something sort of like a Mac. It gives you a link to your home directory, your pictures, and your different file directories. A window list will put a bar at the bottom of the screen that shows which windows are open. Very similar to what you might actually see in like Windows 10 or Windows 11. However, with this default extensions application, you can't install brand new extensions. Now, this used to be done through a browser extension for Firefox and Chrome where you could go. But the newer way to do this is actually to download a program called the Extension Manager. And you get this from the software store. And it has all the same functionality as the default extensions, but you can search for ones that are not installed. And here is an example. I'm going to put in the Bing Daily Wallpaper. This is a very nice application that changes your wallpaper every day at midnight and gives you fantastic vistas as your wallpaper, and you can see that it's now turned on, and you can still have those same extensions that we saw in the generic extensions application. You can turn them all on and off from the Extension Manager application as well. And here I'm just taking a look into what it did. It put the Bing extension onto your bar at the top of the screen, and it tells you that it's going to change it every day at midnight. Now, it does take a little while for this to take effect, and you can see that we still have that architectural-like screen in the background for the Tumbleweed with its emblem. But as we go and play with other things here in the computer, you will see that it will update in a minute or two. So you can set how you want this to work. You can also get rid of wallpapers if you don't like them. They're stored on your hard drive for a couple of days and then they just kind of go away. If we go back again and start looking, and there you can see that the Bing wallpaper was activated. If we go back and take a look at the structure of Gnome and how it displays its apps and icons, it's very clean, and you do have a tremendous wealth of things you can install here. Gnome is the most popular graphic user interface in North America. It's one of the reasons I chose to install that. KDE has a very strong presence in Europe, but I am trying to demonstrate here that a little weather app comes with Gnome and it'll display your local weather. You can actually use an extension parameter that will put the weather next to the clock on the top bar. So it's kind of nice if you just glance up, you can see what the outside temperature is and any precipitation that might be happening. So this is just a quick walkthrough of soosa and the Gnome interface that I chose to display here, and it is classic Gnome. If we take another look at different things that you can type in from the menu screen, we're back into the apps, and it'll show you what your default apps are. You can change these all. This is from within the settings. But for example, if you didn't like Firefox as your default web browser, you could pick Chrome or Brave or whatever you do like. And you can configure your system entirely, customize the way that you want it. And that's about it. This was a basic walkthrough. The biggest thing with Tumbleweed is that it is a rolling release, which means it's constantly updating, and it behaves very stable. Sometimes the rolling releases are a little bit more volatile, but soosa is very stable and very dependable. So it is a safe one to use. We're going to log off. If you found this useful, please subscribe to my channel. It helps me with YouTube.